On October 4, 2007, police were called to an apartment building in Deerfield, Illinois. There, they discovered 7 months pregnant Roni Reuter dead. She had several gunshot wounds to her abdomen. Homicide investigators quickly honed in on Roni's boyfriend and former NFL defensive back Sean Gale, as well as a series of other women he'd been seeing. Gale insisted he wasn't involved in the murder, but pointed the finger at a woman he'd been hooking up with, real estate agent, aspiring fitness model, and mother of 3, Marnie Yang. Police call Yang down to the station for questioning.
How you doing?
Right.
I'm Marty.
Yes.
I'm Detective Chuck Schultz.
Okay.
Can we get you something to drink? I don't know if you offered you.
No.
Water or
I did,
something?
but no,
You mind if I have
okay.
the last one?
I'm all coffeeed out.
Are you? Yeah. Not me. I'm one in the afternoon too.
I'm trying to switch to tea.
Yeah? That's what I asked. That'd be a good idea.
Just so you know, I don't know if you're familiar with police work or what type of investigations that we do. We're with Lake County Major Crime Task Force. So we're officers from detectives from other agencies. So we do nothing but cases in Lake County.
Okay.
So they have procedures as far as what we do as far as intelligence sheets. So Chuck's gonna ask you some basic questions about who you are, where you live, stuff like that.
Okay.
It's strictly just intelligence. It means nothing. It doesn't list you as a suspect, witness. It's just you're someone that we spoke to in this case.
You know, during the whole course of the investigation, we talked to 100 people. Just information so we know if we need to contact them again. That type of thing. There's a bunch of questions, and some of them are not relevant. But okay, your first name is it Marni?
Correct.
Okay. That's your full name?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And you have a middle name?
K-A-Y.
And your last name?
Y-A-N-G.
Do you go by any other names? Is that, are you married?
No.
Okay.
My
And,
children call me some things sometimes, but you don't.
oh, I know.
Not really, just my kids.
Once you have kids, especially teenagers, you think about your time, it's like all the friends and everything else go out the window.
Yeah, well, it's all their friends
Oh, yeah. Obviously no gang affiliation, criminal history, you ever been arrested?
now. No.
Okay. Like I said, a lot of stuff.
That Dudley Mom's gang.
Really?
Yeah.
Like
Soccer moms
you
or?
seen the Burger King commercials?
Yeah, I saw it.
The ones that chase you.
They get pissed on ones, yeah.
Soccer Mom gang.
Okay.
Just a couple things. Because the unit was developed in 1992, and there was some litigation. I wasn't around when this happened, but there was a police officer that was in this unit that got sued. Okay, so we have a policy requirement, regardless of who you are, where you fit into the equation. If you come to a police station and talk to the cops, we have to read you, advise you of your Miranda rights. I don't know if you know what Miranda rights are, but it's just a formality that I gotta tell you.
Okay.
Okay, and you can take it how you want. If you got questions, feel free to ask. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. It's just it's basically you just have the right to remain silent. Anything you say will be used against you in a court of law. You have the right to ask for an attorney if you can't afford an attorney. One will be appointed to represent you before any questioning if you wish. Okay.
Okay.
So that's just basically because we just run into situations where people will just we think that they're the lone witness, and then they say something that all of a sudden implicates them in some crime. Not necessarily.
Okay. We're a suburban department, or task force, and our bosses are pretty particular on, obviously, paperwork and things like that. So they say, anybody you talk to, they come down to the police station, you go to their house, you just talk to them on the street, advise them of their rights. All the stuff that's in the papers and everything else, they would rather just be safe and sorry. So that's just it's out of the way.
Okay.
Okay, that's it. You don't have to be, relax. No,
It's just because I'm not gonna lose my house. I don't know who you are. I don't know anything about you or anything like that. So now we've gotten past that, and you understand everything, correct? Basically, I just want to find out your association with Sean, how you know Sean, when you first met Sean.
Probably known him for about 6 years.
Okay.
Okay. We met at a convention, I think it was, about 6 years ago.
Okay.
I happened to mention that I was a real estate broker at the time, and he asked me what kind of property do you sell, or what kind of real estate? Is everything, residential, commercial, I do everything. And I gave him my card.
What, not to catch up, what kind of convention was it?
It was the Bears convention.
Okay. I mean, was he still a player then?
No.
I'm not big in football.
No, he was an old.
So he had a booth or something, or was he signing autographs?
He was kind of wandering around.
And you guys just, what, did you just have some chit chat or something?
Yeah, we were chit-chatting.
Okay, so you gave him your card. Sorry, go ahead.
That's great. I gave him my card and told him that if he's looking for real estate, he can give me a call.
Okay.
So,
And then, as far as the relationship's been over the last 6 years, is it more business? Is it business friends? I mean,
you know, it's
how do you describe it?
I would say it's a combination of both.
Okay.
Okay, we currently have a project that we're working on.
Okay.
We're starting to work on, that was purchased in August. So, I'd say both.
What kind of project is it?
It's an old warehouse property. We're gonna be trying to turn it into condominiums.
In this market?
Well, like I said, 12 to
Hopefully
24
it'll
months out,
take a
you know,
while
cross
for
your
it, right?
fingers, so.
No, I mean, how would you characterize, how often would you talk to Sean? Once a week, twice a week?
Really, it depends. It depends on, you know, what I've got going on as far as the project goes. If there are, you know, contractors that need to be talked to or whatever. I know we've been through a couple builders that I've tried to get to put together a bid on the project, and he's like, well, I don't like this guy and I don't like that guy. And meanwhile, I'm running around, you know, just setting up appointments and things. So a lot of it, I'll keep a lot of appointments for him so he doesn't have to go. And then, you know, just apprise him afterwards of any decisions that need to be made or something like that. So a lot of it depends on kind of like where we're at with business and stuff.
I mean, do you guys talk outside of business though? I mean,
Yeah, sure.
okay. I don't know, I mean, you gotta kind of tell me, I mean, have you had dinner together before? I mean,
We've had dinner.
social events, stuff like that?
Yeah, well, you know what, he's not like this huge social butterfly. He's not like out and about
Okay.
a lot, so, you know, to call and say, why don't we go here or why don't we go there, like he's not big on that.
Okay.
But dinner, you know.
Marty, you know, obviously you know why we're talking all
Yeah,
this.
there's-
This is about.
Probably not too many people out there.
Right, they don't know.
Yeah.
Right. And obviously it was, you know, Sean's girlfriend, or, you know, she was pregnant with his baby,
Mhm.
and they were expecting, and this happened.
Right.
So one of the things we obviously want to talk to you about is your relationship with him, how well you've known him, you know, how personal, you know, do you know him. We know that there were some issues and problems that he had with a former girlfriend that was sending some letters,
Right.
and that type of thing. Were you involved in that? I know that your name was on some of the letters, and it's taken us a while to get through a lot of. Sean's got a lot of associates, a lot of friends, female friends also, because this was someone that was close to him.
Mhm.
And we're keeping all possibilities open.
Right.
But of course, we got to look into the possibility that it was something to do with because of his relationship with her.
Mhm.
So then you look at this other, you know, girl and the letters and all this other stuff that came up then. So we're kind of trying to get an idea, you know, are we talking to someone that has had close relationships with him that maybe, you know, another person would look at you and think, you know, you're threatening, or, you know, or would you say
I did receive those letters
Yeah.
when they came out.
do you still have any of that stuff?
No, I didn't. You know, to me it was like ridiculous.
Yeah.
I know that he was pretty upset by it.
Mhm. How did you feel about him? Were they threatening? I mean, did you?
Like, the first round of letters that went out, I didn't really think was threatening.
Mhm.
I just thought they were kind of stupid.
Yeah.
There was a second round of letters that went out that I thought was like a little bit more, like if it was obviously the same person writing it, and he identified right away who it was. He said that it was, that he knew it was her because there were certain things that were in the letters
Mhm.
that nobody else but her knew. and no, like nobody else but her could know. So he pretty much identified right away who it was. The second round of letters that went out, I thought was kind of ridiculous.
Now, when you mean second round, were these all in the mail?
These were all in the mail.
Okay, so you received like letters in envelopes, and was there anything else in the letters? Was there any photos, was there any packages, or anything packets, or anything like that, or was it? If you remember?
Yeah, I do remember, because the first letters that went out were it was a big thick packet, and it was like copies of emails that I don't know had like gone between the two of them and some other stuff, and it was basically just saying that he was seeing all these other women. I forget, there was a list of like probably 20 of them or something. That he was seeing all these other women, and you know, that she found out that he was seeing all these other women, and she thinks everybody should know about it. I'm like, all right, fine. There was a second round of letters that went out that was like, it was almost like her tone had changed and had become almost like taunting. And she included a picture of herself in the letter. She was a nice looking young lady. She really was. And she was kind of like saying...
It was in the second letters?
Yeah, this is in the second letters. And she was kind of like saying that, like, this is me and I'm so beautiful, and if he could have me, why would he want all of you? So, I also received a kind of strange, it was just written in an envelope, like just like an empty blank envelope. Somebody had written on there, "You will get yours," and dropped it by my garage. So I called Sean and I was like, "What is this?" And he's like, "Well, you know, can you fax it to me?" Or so I scanned it in and I emailed it to him. It wasn't.
And you know what I mean? It's not like he's a married man or anything, and he's got his,
I'm not
you know,
either, so.
right? Okay.
Yeah,
well,
no.
you know, I know it's personal, but I'm just trying to be.
It's not a monogamous relationship. He's obviously got other women that he sees.
You mean between you and him?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it's obviously he's obviously has other women that he sees. If you read that letter, and you know, I've got other guys that I see. It's not.
Yeah,
Okay.
but
So it's just you guys are friends, and sometimes a little more. Or on a regular basis, would you say? Or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
That's fine. I mean,
not
think
now,
no,
obviously,
no, now.
but you know, right now I think what he needs more than anything else is just a friend and someone to lean on. We're also, like I said, business partners, so.
well, we've just run into. Fortunately, we've talked to over hundreds of people now at this point, and some people are very offended that we have to ask that stuff. But
No, I mean,
we gotta know not only that, but
It's not going anywhere. You know,
as far as
personal information.
Look, he knows my kids.
Mhm.
He knows
Okay.
my mom. He knows my dad.
Right. So it's not a secret
Yeah, I mean,
or
it's not a
anything.
secret
No.
or anything.
And we're not. And you know what? Like you said, he's not married. You're not married.
Right.
You know, we're trying to find out.
No, I
what
know that,
happened
but from
here.
my point of view, it's
Yeah.
like, okay, they're probably going to ask, but I'm not going to volunteer that information unless I am asked. So, but no, I mean, I don't have
Appreciate
anything to
that.
hide with that. So,
Yeah.
I mean,
Did you besides the letters?
Mhm.
Did you ever get any like electronic stuff like emails? Did you ever get any phone calls at your house that were suspicious, or did your kids ever answer the phone?
Well,
and they
yes
said,
and
you
no.
know,
Okay, and this was something else. I didn't, not to my house phone, but to my cell phone. I would get numerous hang-up calls. For a while, I was getting, you know,
Was it
hang-up
during that
calls.
same time? when the
It was
letters
during
were-
that same time period or just after, and you know, they come across the phone as anonymous. I told Sean about it, but I also said the same thing. I have two teenagers in the house. This could be their friends playing jokes, and he said, "Well, on your cell phone?" You know, and I told him, I said, my children I don't allow them to have cell phones. My daughter finally just got her first cell phone. She went out, she paid for it, bought it herself. But because of the fact that my kids had never had cell phones, my cell phone is where their friends call, you know, is Emily with you?
Yeah,
Right. You know, I mean, other than the
Good
house
way to
phone.
know what's going on.
Well,
Yeah.
where they're at and what
Right,
they're doing.
exactly.
So. But so I didn't think it was overly strange that I was getting hang-up calls on my cell.
Mhm.
Okay, because all their friends, that's, you know, is Emily with you? Is Andrew with you? And as far as electronic stuff, I never got any strange emails. A few months ago, I'm thinking it had to be like September, because I think it was right when Sean came back from London. he had a charity motorcycle ride that he was supposed to be doing, and I have a group of folks that I ride with, and the guy that's kind of loosely in charge of the group, he's responsible for sending out emails and
Did you ride a motorcycle?
Yeah.
Oh, you have a motorcycle?
Uh-huh.
Oh, wow.
And he's responsible. This guy is responsible for like sending out the emails and letting everybody know if we're meeting, when we're meeting, where we're meeting, when the rides are. And I had a back injury and couldn't go on that ride, but I remember being notified of it.
Mm-hmm.
There was I guess there was some kind of email that went out from some woman claiming to be a friend or a coworker or something of this woman that he had the order of protection against, saying that he's sleeping with the woman that organized the ride, that she felt that she wanted to let everybody know, like, what a
Now,
kind
would
of...
that be you, or?
Huh?
You didn't organize the ride, or?
No.
It wasn't you.
It
you
was
were talking
some,
about,
no,
right?
it was some charity organization. I don't
Okay.
recall offhand what it was. And I had actually gotten it secondhand after somebody had forwarded it to Jay, to the guy that organizes our group.
Okay, so you didn't directly get the first one, it was just forwarded.
I don't think I don't think so, because the second one had come along with like a little disclaimer by our ride organizer saying, like, don't pay attention to this baloney, let's come out and support this charitable cause anyway, because it costs like $25-30 every time you go on this ride. Like, it costs you, you pay and all the money goes to charity.
Right.
I remember that he had said, don't pay attention to this ridiculousness and let's come out and support this ride anyways. So I don't remember offhand if I had gotten the first one or not. I don't think I did, no.
Do you know the girl, the woman's name that we're speaking of? You know her name offhand?
The woman that we're speaking of? The one that organized the ride?
No, the one that was
No,
sending
the
the
one that sent the
emails, the
emails.
one that was causing Sean all these
That
problems.
was that Monica and
Okay.
some long Polish last name.
Alright.
Did Sean talk? Did Sean talk to you about her at all? I mean, did he tell you? What did he tell you about her? I mean, obviously, when you got their letters and stuff, I know you said it was ridiculous, but what was your reaction? Did you get on the phone with Sean and say, "What is
No,
this?"
he called me ahead of time to warn me that it was probably coming in the mail.
Okay.
Okay. He warned me ahead of time to let me know that it was probably coming.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it was no big
When
surprise.
you got it, then what was your reaction?
He had prepared me for some of it,
Okay.
okay? But I did call him, and I was like, well, I gotta tell you, I'm not real happy about this. He's like, why? He's like, we discussed this, we talked about it. And I was like, I didn't say I was never gonna speak to you again. Okay, relax. I said I'm not real happy about it. Now, I think one of the things that I had told him that bothered me the most about it was, not so much that he was seeing other women. It's like, fine, we kind of know that, all right? I don't need it shoved down my throat, but,
Right.
we kind of know that. But the thing that bothered me the most was the fact that, like, I don't even know who this woman is, and she's got my address, and she knows where I live. I'm a single parent, okay?
Right. Did he give you any? Because obviously, my concern would be if I were you, I'd be like, well, how did she get this information on me? Because then you'd be like, well, what kind of wackos are you hanging out with? Like,
Well,
this mom?
yeah. As a matter of fact, I think I cracked a joke about it at one point, and he didn't think it was very funny. Okay, I think I had said to him something along the lines of, like, geez, what the heck did you do to this Rob so bad? And he didn't think that was funny at all.
Did he answer you?
He snapped at me. He was like, what are you talking about? What do you mean by that?
Did he say why that she was doing this at all? I mean, when he kind of gave you the
He
feel about what's going to come.
He didn't really go into that very much as far as why she was doing it. It was more or less just explaining the fact that he had been seeing her and that it ended, and that I guess she wasn't taking it very well. So.
Did you say what type of relationship he had with her, as far as how they met, where they met?
No, he didn't give me any of those details. I didn't ask. I kind of considered that to be, like, maybe none of my business.
Well, why I ask, though, is that, in all fairness to you, I mean, you're the one getting the brunt of these harassing emails. I mean, there's got to be a concern for your safety, and I think you have a right to know to a point.
He told me the information that he gave me at the time, you know, was he told me where she worked. He didn't tell me where he had met her. I have no idea to this day. The only place that my mind was at that point, number one, I didn't really find the letters, at least not in the beginning, I didn't find the letters all that threatening. I found them stupid and I found them annoying.
Okay.
Okay?
More kind of childish or like immature and
Yeah.
something that's like, you know, why do I have to deal with this now? And
This is something, you know, what was that, a year ago, 2 years ago? This is my 14th overdue.
right.
Okay. So I didn't really find them threatening. I found them, like I said, more annoying than anything else. Like, and then, like I said, I had cracked this joke one day. I was like, geez, what did you do to piss her off so bad? But as far as receiving the brunt of them, I don't, you know, like I said, I received the letters twice and then I got that envelope dropped in my alley or whatever. But other than that, you know, like I said, for me, I don't know, hang-up calls, again, that can be interpreted as coming from her, or is it a bunch of teenagers goofing around, you know?
Well, you said it was on your cell phone, right?
Yeah, it was on my cell phone.
But that could be the kids too.
Right, because like I said, my daughter's friends all know if they're looking for her, they always call my cell phone looking for her. So it could have been, you know, so I couldn't really come forward and say, this is her doing this, and I can't really put it on her when I didn't know.
Now, has he told you what's gone on or what's happened with this Monica girl? Or, you know, she's still in the country, is she not in the country?
Well, I read the newspapers. Apparently she's married to someone else and pregnant. Okay, supposedly. Okay. But again, and this is one of the things that I had talked to Sean about, is how can you believe everything that you read in the newspapers? I'm sure there's a lot that's not being said. I'm sure there's a lot that's probably being misreported. You know, we know how the media can be.
They get it wrong a lot.
Right. So, you know, in wanting to decide what I can believe and what I can't, you know, I don't know.
Of the people on these letters, and I don't know if, like, you know, your relationship with Sean and your association with him, I don't know if it mingles or cross mingles any other friends. Did you know anybody on that list of those
Not
letters?
a single
Any of them?
one of them.
And did you ever have any contact with any of them ever? Or
Not that I know of.
That's what I mean. Nobody ever called you. None of them ever called. You know, because did anybody? You know, we're just trying to find out. Did any people on here, you know, get mad and say, I'm going to call that person and find out, because some of the letters had phone numbers, some of the people just had names. You know what I mean? So, but none of them ever contacted you.
None of them
other
ever
than girls.
contacted me, other, like I said, on these hang-up calls that I would get, none of them ever contacted me. You know, so I don't know, as far as them contacting each other or whatever, I have no idea. And he's never, that I know of, I've never come into contact with anyone, you know, I mean, like, he never looked at me and said, you know, Martin, this is so-and-so.
Right.
I don't think that he would be that classless, is what I'm gonna say. He doesn't strike me as being this.
So they were all the, I mean.
He managed to keep, if he really was seeing as many women as those letters said he was, he sure managed to keep them all.
Separated, different compartmentalized.
Oh yeah.
Did you know, or the extent of his relationship with the victim, Ronnie?
I didn't know the extent of the relationship. I know that he had told me over the summer that, I mean, it was late summer, I know he had told me that he was, that he had gotten somebody pregnant, and that...
Do you remember exactly when he told you?
It was over the summer. Let me think. We had gone out, we were out to lunch. I remember we were out to lunch, and we were coming back from an appointment, and it was before we closed on the property. So it had to be, I don't know, maybe July or August. Okay? He had mentioned that he had gotten somebody pregnant. He actually made it sound like it was somebody that he had had a brief fling with, and that...
Or whatever, or something happened.
Well, yeah, and he actually had said that he didn't come right out and say it, but he made it sound like she had already had the kid and had come back after him with her hand out for child support.
Oh.
Maybe I'm just misreading. I mean, he
What
didn't,
he said or at the time? Or?
you know, maybe I'm just misreading what he said, but I remember I asked him, I was like, well, are we happy about this? And he goes, oh, no. He goes, no. He goes, not at all.
Mm-hmm.
I said, okay, I see. You know, because I am a parent, you know, I'm listening to what he's saying. He said, I made it clear to the other party, is how he referred to her. He didn't even say this person. He just said, I made it clear to the other party that, that I will take care of my responsibility in this matter, but that I'm not going to allow it to affect my life, is what he said.
What do you mean by that, you think? Or did he explain?
He didn't really explain. He just, you know, I told him, and it was that time that I kind of gave him a dose of reality. You know, I was like, well, let me tell you something. I've got 3 children. It's not that simple.
Mm-hmm. Because he doesn't have any other kids.
No, not that I know of. Not that I'll admit to. I mean, who knows? Like I said, take a look and see if.
But I mean, you know,
Yeah.
I mean, I've got kids, you know,
Mhm.
and you know, once you have kids, your priorities change, your life
Right,
changes,
exactly.
you become more mature in a lot of different ways. And he's 40-something years old.
He's 45.
He's never had that. 45 years old. He's never had that, so he's still living like he's not making him
20-something.
judgmental. It's his, well, he's 20-something. He's in college, still in college or whatever. But it's his choice.
A player.
Yeah. So I mean, I had, you know, and I think maybe the reason that I had thought that this is someone that, oh, I remember what he said. The reason I thought that it was someone that he had that she had the kid already is because he said to me, I didn't find out about this until way late in the game.
Mhm.
That's what he said to me.
Like she was.
Like she had already had the kid and had come back. I mean, that's just the way I took it, maybe. You know.
But he never said she had a baby, was it a boy or a girl or anything like
No,
that.
and
It
you
just
know
you
what?
just thought that it was
Right.
something that she came back at him or whatever.
Yeah. So, I mean, that was my interpretation, I guess, of what he said. So, you know, I knew that he had gotten somebody pregnant, but he just kind of made it seem like, you know, this is just another check I'm going to have to write every
And
month.
that was in
and
the
I'm not-
summertime.
Yeah, that was like last summer.
Now, this happened October 4th.
Hmm.
She was killed, and so from the summer till October, did you guys ever have a conversation about this child or this other person that was pregnant at all, or
he
you never bring it up or
He
anything?
never brought it up
He
again.
didn't.
All I said to him at the time that we had the conversation, all I said to him was, okay. You know, because like I said, in my mind, I'm thinking, you know, the way he brought it across to me was, this is another check I'm going to have to write every month.
Was he the kind of guy that would kind of, I mean, like you said, you guys are close, you're friends.
Mhm.
Did he keep certain things close to the vest? You know, like certain feelings or certain, obviously, you know, he's not going to talk about one woman while he's with another woman. It's not like that. Like you said, he's not classless.
Unless he's backed into a corner, okay?
Mhm,
Like
okay.
when those letters started to go out,
Mhm.
and he had no choice but to give me a heads up that I should be expecting that one might come in the mail.
Yeah, it's called damage control.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's exactly what he did. You know, I had said to him, oh really? And I was like, well, and what was this, you know, what was your relationship with this woman, or why would she be sending these? You know, and his response was, come on, you know this is not a monogamous relationship, and you know that I see other people or whatever. I was like, okay, you know.
Well, I just out of curiosity, I mean, how did you, when he springs this on you that he's going to be a dad, I mean, how did you feel about the whole thing? I mean, did you feel like your relationship was done with, or
No.
I mean,
Not knowing.
that was obviously something you could get past.
What do you mean, as far as having emotional?
Well, did he minimize it?
Obviously now that I know, you know, that there was something more going on here, obviously I think he minimalized it.
Now you were saying you read the papers. What and when as far as the extent of his relationship with this girl Ronnie, what do you understand it to be? And have you talked about it since?
Yeah,
as
we
far as
talked
his relationship
about
with her.
When we
Does it-
talked about it, I asked him, you know, I said, look, there are certain aspects to this that I have to deal with also. And, you know, this is exactly what I said to him. I said, because of the fact that you never know what to believe about what's in the newspaper
Mhm.
as opposed to, what you've told me. I said, aside from what you've told me compared to what I'm reading in the newspaper, I said that where's the truth? Does it lie somewhere in the middle, or what, as far as the extent of your involvement with her? That's all he said was it lied somewhere in the middle. That's all he said.
Okay.
So, I mean, I really don't know what to believe.
Mhm.
Go
Well,
ahead.
I guess on that, kind of along that same line, I mean, looking at your relationship with him, however you want to address it, I mean, how do you feel like he treated you in the whole thing? I mean, was he the verbally controlling type of individual? I mean, what kind of person am I looking at here?
I don't think he was verbally controlling. I think that he holds a lot of things close to his chest.
I mean, sounds like a typical male, but I mean,
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll crawl back in my cave and come out when I feel like it.
Sure.
As far as asking him to open up, and be more forthcoming with things, I never pressured him. I figured, you know what, I will let him, and this is kind of the tone for our entire relationship, okay? I will let him share what he wants to share. I will make my own observations based on what I see and decide from there if what he's telling me is truth or not.
Sure.
In other words, the truth will come out in the end, okay? So, I don't think he's overly controlling. I just think he's,
Well, how would you describe? I mean, how is he with you? I mean, what type of, person is he as far as to be in a relationship with? I mean, is he ever been verbally abusive to you?
no,
Physically?
no, never.
Ever aggressive?
I don't think he's got an aggressive bone in his body. I will tell you that much.
Okay.
One of the things that strikes me about him is he's very, I almost want to say like accepting. Like when things go wrong, whether it be with business or with personal, he's the kind of person that will just kind of hang his head and go, oh well, this is what it is.
Right.
Well, when he told you about this other person that sprung this, or late in the game,
Mm-hmm.
new revelation about having a baby,
Mm-hmm.
and you said, oh, he wasn't happy, and when you say, oh, not happy, I mean to the point of where, it's really pissing him off?
No, see what you're asking?
I'm just trying to ask you your opinion.
The way it struck me at the time, and I thought about it afterwards as well, again, just the very kind of like resigned, that's the word I'm looking for, just very resigned to it, was his said this or said that. With paying someone else this, of course I want to say no, all right? I can tell you I don't think so.
I guess.
I would imagine looking at his finances would be able to tell you if there's been money paid out somewhere.
Yeah, but I
Okay.
mean,
We just want to get more of your personal.
there's, I mean,
You've known him for a lot of time. You've been
Yeah, I
close
just-
with him.
just ways, there's just ways around that. It's just in the big picture. You look at things, and obviously in these type of investigations, it's the husband, ex-boyfriend, or the current boyfriend that are always usually the suspects.
Mhm.
And it's just, talking to people, he didn't seem like he was all that excited about being dad. And let's face it, having children are very expensive, let alone.
He is also very concerned always about what everything costs. I mean, we just got a quote from the architect that we're very likely going to be using on this project, and that's always the first question is, how much is this going to cost, and am I going to have to come up with any money up front? How much of this can we get financed? And so with him, a lot of it has to do with money. I mean, and that's
Sure.
naturally in his position. I would imagine
Sure.
that would be natural, because you have to consider the fact that he probably goes into everything thinking to himself, my name speaks for me, and people are automatically going to be looking. And I know he's been in business. I'm sure you've done your checking. He's been sued a couple of times for like some real estate deals, and from what I understand, it was stuff that was totally beyond even his scope of understanding. It was his attorney dropped the ball somewhere
Sure.
in a real estate deal, and he ended up getting sued for that. So I think that just based on experience with people, you know, that's his first question is, what are they after?
Right.
You know, how much do they want from me? I don't know. I don't see it.
Okay.
You know, I don't.
I mean, that's obviously, you know, it's a concern for us because, you know, here Ronnie was 7 months along, and you know, the due date is getting closer and closer, and
Why would he have waited so long then?
I don't
If he
know.
told me about it in July,
I mean, that's why I have a job. I mean, I'm unfortunately doing this kind of stuff. It's just like, you know, maybe he thought she was gonna abort the baby. I don't know. Maybe you know, unfortunately she's dead. I can't talk to her. I can't question her thought process. But you know, I'm 45 some years old, and I've been single, I've been bachelor, living the life of a professional football player, and now I'm gonna have a kid come along and cramp my lifestyle, let alone what's gonna cost me.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm gonna lie and say we aren't concerned that could be a motive, you know. And I don't see him getting his hands dirty in it, to be quite frank with you. But it wouldn't be on the realm. I mean, he does have resources to take care of that kind of problem.
Honestly, I would not even begin to know how much something like that costs.
Sure.
But just on a note regarding his finances, you know, I'm his real estate broker. I'm also his mortgage broker, okay? I'm also his loan officer.
Some of these women have been with him, or you know, whatever, have their own impression of him, and that's all we wanted to cover. But to get, you know, back to what I asked originally, do you remember when you found out that this happened, and then you knew that it was associated with Sean, or because?
It was the day of. I had started getting phone calls later in the afternoon from, was it my mother that called me first? I don't remember who called me first. I think it was my mother that called me first. And she was like, have you heard the news? Did you hear what happened? Whatever. I was like, no, what? Huh?
What did you hear? What did they tell you? Or your mom? Or
that someone that he had been involved with had been murdered, had been killed. And that they had him, that they were questioning him. I picked up the phone. Well, I had heard it on the radio first, but they didn't mention her name first, and they didn't mention right off the bat that it was associated with him until later. I don't want to say it had to be about maybe 3 in the afternoon or something like that.
That you heard from your mom or on the
No,
radio?
that I heard it on the radio.
Okay.
I didn't hear it from my mom until probably almost dinner time. But I called him and I said, I just heard something, and could you please at least call me, let me know you're okay, whatever, something. He didn't return my call. And I called him again a few hours later. I was like, I haven't heard back from you. Can you at least call me and let me know you're all right? And I didn't hear back from him.
what time did you call him about the first time?
Well, I knew he had a doctor's appointment that morning from a motorcycle wreck. Okay, his hip was actually after still swollen.
Oh, okay.
His hip was still swollen. He was limping. He wasn't really. That's the other thing, you know. He wasn't getting around that well. He couldn't have actually. I don't think he was limping. Okay, he could barely walk up the stairs.
Right.
You know, to go and do something like this, and then I read the newspaper, and it said in the newspaper that she lived on the 3rd floor of a condo building. Well, if you live in a condo building and you're on the 3rd floor, like, whoever did this, either they had to have a key, or wouldn't they have to ring everybody's doorbell in order to have somebody in the building buzz them in the front?
Sure.
So, you know, there was that, but I said, no way. I said he was limping, he wasn't getting around real well. I had sent him a text message, I guess it was, earlier in the day. I can't remember what time it was.
What's the day?
The day of, asking him to please call me and let me know how the doctor's appointment went. What did the doctor say?
That was before you heard anything.
That was before I heard anything. It was maybe around, it was sometime after lunch. I think it was sometime just after lunch. I had sent him, I thought I had called him, but he said no, he said it was a text message. That just asking what was the doctor's verdict, what did they say about your hip? A couple hours later, I had not heard back from him. That was when I had also heard it on the radio. I called him and left him a message. Are you okay? Is everything okay? Will you please call me? The second time I called him, same thing. You know, I haven't heard back from you. Please just call me and let me know you're okay. We don't have to talk about anything else. You don't have to answer any questions. Please just call and let me know you're all right. Didn't get an answer back.
Did he ever call you back that day?
No.
Okay.
Okay.
Now, just so we can kind of go on a certain thing or track here. So that day, sometime late morning, is when you first started to hear about it.
No.
No.
It was after lunch already.
After
It had
lunch,
to be-
you heard from.
Well, why don't we cover the 24 hour, 24
Yeah,
hour?
we're gonna. This one we're gonna. So you didn't hear back from him the day. You sent him a text message earlier about his doctor's appointment.
Right.
Called him a couple times and left
Mhm.
messages. Hey, what's going on? Are you okay? Just let me know if you're okay.
Yeah.
How many times did you call him? You think about that day or evening?
Twice that I know of. It was twice that I know of for sure. I may have called him one or two more times, and like his phone was shut off. Like it rolled right to voicemail.
Okay.
Like it didn't even ring first. It was almost like he had it shut off. So, you know, I forget.
What was your day like that day? I mean, self-employed, so I don't know what time you get up with your kids, or what time did you get up that day? If we could go over that, and then kind of.
I got up. It was late. It was about 10:30 in the morning. I had been up kind of late the night before. I was having problems with my car. The battery I wouldn't start, and
So you went to bed late the night before?
yeah, because I was in the garage fiddling with it. Couldn't get it to start. I was, you know what? I'll deal with it tomorrow. So I woke up actually late. It was about 10:30 in the morning, I think. And I had to call my son out of school because he also stayed home that day sick.
That's
Andrew.
which one? That's the
Andrew, the
16-year-old?
older one. Right.
Did the other two go to school?
Yeah, the other two went to school that day.
Where do they go to school? Is it,
They're over at Donstube and they're walking distance from the house.
are they all in high school?
No, my youngest one is in 6th grade. He's going to be 12 next week.
Where's he go to school?
Wildwood.
What's his birthday?
The 20th.
Okay.
He's going to be 12. He stayed home that day also, and I was out, like I said, I was out in the garage fiddling with the truck. Couldn't get it started. I was like, all right, I'm just going to replace the battery.
What time was that about?
It was around noon by that time already.
So you wake up in the morning at 10:30.
Mm-hmm.
That's as early as you get up, and
No, I'm usually up a lot earlier, but
I mean that day you don't wake up till 10:30.
Yeah.
You're in the house sleeping.
Mhm.
You wake up, you find out that what's it, Brandon or no?
Andrew. So he went, he got me the battery, and he brought it, and he had to go back to work, so I had Andrew help me get dressed and drop it in my truck. So, I came back in the house, so it was after lunch, I came back in the house, flipped on the radio, and that's when I heard it. You know, like I said, I called him, he didn't answer, called him again, later, he didn't answer. So I figured, well, he'll get a hold of me, you know, that's kind of like the tone of our entire relationship. He'll get a hold of me when he does.
How long did Sal stay at your house, or what time did he come over about?
Oh, well, it was whenever he makes his lunch. It had to be between 12 and 1. And he was just for a few minutes. Cause
Is he a friend, like friend, or is he just a friend?
He's an
Like one of those other boyfriends that you were talking about?
Yeah, on off.
Sorry. Okay.
Yeah, he's an
Anything else happened during the day, or, I mean,
well, you know, like I said, I didn't hear back
you
from
didn't hear
him.
back from Sean?
So, you know, after a day or so, I sent him an email.
Mhm.
And I just said, you know, I know things are tough right now. I know things are difficult. Whatever, keep your chin up. Please get a hold of me when you can, and just let me know that you're okay. And over the next couple of days to the next couple of weeks, I would send him, you know, I think it was like over the next week, I sent him several emails just saying, you know, let me know you're all right. Finally, I heard back, not from him, but from his attorney, just basically apologizing, saying he can't, you know, he asked me to get in touch with you. He said he can't talk to anybody right now, and he'll get a hold of you when he can.
His attorney?
Yeah. He'll get a hold of you whenever he can.
Do you know who that is, or
Her name was Donna something.
you don't know her last name?
Starts with an R.
What was, before the day that Ryan was killed,
Mhm.
leading up to that, what was Sean's moods like? When was it, like, up to that point, like a week before, 2 weeks, I don't know, when was like the most recent from the time, the October 4th,
Mhm.
that you had seen her and talked to him?
I was at his place the night before.
Okay. At his house?
Yeah, I was
Okay.
at his place the evening before.
When was it? What time was that?
Well, let's see. He called me while my kids were at football practice, and I waited until practice was over, which was like 6:30. Dropped my kids off at home,
This was October 3rd.
and then I grabbed dinner because he wasn't getting around so well. You know, like I said, he called me and he said, I'm feeling a little bit better. He said, you know, I'm up to getting out of the house a little bit. He said, I was thinking about taking a walk and going and getting dinner. He said, I want you to go with me. And we had a bunch of stuff business related that we had to talk about anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And I said to him, well, you know, I said, if you're still in a considerable amount of pain, I said, let's forget about going out. I said, I'll just pick up something and bring it. And so he said, okay, you know, he says, getting out is not the problem. He says, it's later in the evening. He says, you know,
Starts to bother him.
yeah, that
Sure.
he says that it's, you know, I paid for it. So I stopped and I picked up dinner. I got over there, I think it was around 7:30.
You know what you picked up, or?
I got
mean, you know, it's just.
I got
Yeah,
him a
yeah.
steak salad, and I got a duck salad.
Where was that at?
Max
What
over
street
on
is it on?
Division Street.
Okay.
It's like, I want to say 1900 West Division. And yes, I paid for it with a credit card. Check.
Max.
MAC apostrophe S.
What was
Remember,
his-
you're not the one under trial here, so.
What,
I know that.
No, I know it sounds. You have a lot of goofy questions, but sometimes then later on,
If you are going to call my friend Sal and check with him, we are very close. He is an ex-boyfriend. I don't make him privileged to whatever relationships I'm
so
involved
we
in.
won't share anything.
You don't need to look at him and say, did you know she was dating him?
Well, let me ask you a question. So if we ask him questions, does he know you're friends with him, or at
Yes.
least okay? So he knows you're a work associate.
He knows that we're friends. He knows that we are business associates as well.
Okay, that's
Okay.
fine. Yeah,
Yeah.
we don't need to,
I
you know,
just-
share
That
part
information.
is
None
like not
of- none of his
really-
We
business.
appreciate
Thank
that.
you.
What? So then that night, you go over, you go to Max, you pick up some food, you go over there about 7:30,
It was about 7:30 I got there.
and then you guys stay in the house or stay at his place.
We stayed in the house. That was it.
How long were you there till? About, you know.
About 2 hours. I left at about 9:30. It was my intention to leave there and go to a girlfriend's house, okay? But, you know, like I said, I ran home real quick to check on the kids, and then I was gonna shoot out to a girlfriend's house of mine for a little while, but I couldn't get my car started.
That's after you left there?
Mhm.
So you left Sean's about what time, you think?
It was about 9:30.
9:30, and then you went home
I went
first,
home first.
check on your kids.
Right. And then I was gonna scoot out to a girlfriend's for a little bit, but like I said, I never made it because I couldn't get the car started after
And what,
that. In my cell phone, I don't.
That's okay.
I need a
I'm
shot.
sure I can find it some other night.
you have it, or
boss-
do you have it with you, or?
The boss wants me to call, I'm sure I can find it.
Yeah,
Yeah, we
or
can
call
call
me
it
and I'll
back.
give it to you.
Okay.
Yeah.
We really appreciate you coming down there, because since this happened with Ronnie,
Mhm.
we've had 4 other calls, that we're working. To our unit, we get called out for, just homicides,
Okay.
and,
I was
so,
gonna say, when you say 4 cases and then I compare it to what a municipality like Chicago must have, it's like 4?
No,
right,
but
well, I mean, talking about because all the officers, all the investigators from other departments, so we handle all our other cases in all those other departments, and then we get called in, we work those, you know, and then we keep getting calls, it's, you know,
Okay.
it's like a lot of people to talk to, so that's kind of why some of these things stretch out. So that night, you go home, you're having a problem with the car as far as
Yeah.
like the alternator, or just wouldn't start again, or were you having problems while you're driving it, or?
No, I mean, I'm
Just-
not a mechanic, but I just
Neither am
assumed,
And I don't
I
blame
just
them.
assumed, you know, okay, it's a 2001, it
Mhm.
still has the original battery in it from when I bought the thing, you know, and I just figured it was the battery. Now, I was also, even after I replaced the battery, I was continuing to have problems with it for the next couple of days. Turned out it was a loose battery cable.
Mhm.
I don't know if when my son and I went, because I mean, I'm not a mechanic, but I can change a battery.
Sure.
I don't know if when my son and I went to go put the battery in, we didn't tighten the cable down enough or something. It, you know, popped
The
loose.
new battery? Or?
Yeah, but my friend Sal, was it 1 or 2 nights later, had to come save my rear end in the parking lot of the grocery store up the street. So, yeah, so I had gone, like I said, I had gone home, and it was when I went to leave again that I couldn't get it started. So.
You just stayed home.
Yeah, I just stayed home.
And the next morning, moving over that. Anything else that's, you know, that you went, or anything in the evening or afternoon on the 4th?
I'm assuming you got the car started at noon?
Yeah, it was working
Okay.
fine. I drove to the store to get some medicine for my son. I went up to the Osco to get like some medicine or whatever, cough medicine for him. Later that night, I went out to my girlfriend's house instead.
On the 4th, the next time.
Christy's place?
Yeah.
Where does she live?
She's way out in Arlington Heights. So,
How's your neighborhood up on
pretty
Homestead?
quiet.
Yeah.
It's pretty quiet. We have 2 universities close by. They keep the neighborhood, I think, pretty stable. We have Northeastern and we have North Park College. So, it's pretty, I don't see a lot of problems.
Yeah, nicer area.
Now, if
Remember
you
what
cross
time-
to the other side of Kedzie, maybe that's a different story.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That's okay.
Do you remember what time you went to Christie's on the 4th?
No,
Ballpark? Dinner time?
No, I have no clue.
Just after Oscar though?
No, it was later.
Yeah, I mean later.
So.
Can you think offhand, as far as, you've obviously known Sean for approximately 6 years. I'm sure he's introduced you to people.
Really?
Okay.
You ever gone anywhere with them? Travel out of country or out of state
No, that
or
was
anywhere?
one of my sticking points. You know, is that he did a lot of traveling, and I know that obviously it was disclosed in the letters that he has various women that he travels with. I don't know how many. I don't, you know. And my question to him was, of course, I mean, never asked me to go anywar.
Right.
You know.
Right.
And we used to get in, you know, we used to get into like little arguments about that. But like I said, with him, it was always kind of like, if you try to push him for things, he'll withdraw. But if you just sit back and let him
Come to you.
you, then he'll be a lot more forthright. So, you know, like I said, I don't push him for a lot of things.
I guess my question is, is there anybody that you know or that he's spoken of in his life that he may have mentioned having a beef with, issues with?
Other than this Polish?
Yeah, I mean, one of the girls he may have dated had an issue with an ex-boyfriend, and why we ask, I mean, it's just, you'd be surprised if we don't ask the right questions, people don't sometimes offer the information. So, we spoke to Sean in great depth, we've spoken to everybody in his life pretty much in depth, and it's just, you may give us the same 6 people that we know about, there may be that one person we don't know about.
Yeah, I was under the impression that that he pretty much kept everything compartmentalized. He never mentioned anything to me. As a matter of fact, there have been times when I have felt like he's withheld. Obviously, he has now, we know, information and details about things, either because he felt that it was none of my business, or because he felt that I was going to make some sort of judgment against him, in terms of whether I wanted to continue associating with him or not. So as far as mentioning much about his personal life when it comes to other people, not at all.
Places he hangs out, restaurants, bars, clubs,
He would say things like, my buddy's place. Now there were a couple of occasions where maybe I would mention, I stopped in and, met a friend and had a drink at such and such place or whatever, and he would say, I know my buddy owns that place, or I know the people that own it or whatever. But other than that, he was never really detailed. He always would leave out like a lot of details. I want to say occasionally he might mention the name of a place or something, but there's really nothing that sticks out in my mind as being that he was specific. He can be very vague, and like I said, I think the reason for that is because, like I said, if he's dating this one and that one and the other one and the other one, he doesn't want.
When did he ever talk about Ronnie to you, though?
Not at all.
I mean, you never mentioned that he was having issues with her, and
He never mentioned her, period. The
Okay.
only.
so we don't know if she had a drug. I mean, she seems like on the surface is a wonderful person, but I mean, did she have a drug problem, gambling problem? I mean,
We don't know. Did she owe somebody money? That was one of the things that he's, sitting there upside down about.
Well, that's a good question. You bring that up. Now we talked a little bit about the day of and before. Has he had, and have you guys talked about this? I mean, you said you talked a little bit about it.
Of course we talked about it. But
is
again,
he-
I
is
don't
he-
press him. I
Okay,
let
so
him.
he's still closed or still cold fasted or?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I said, I don't press him. I let him do the talking. I will tell him if he chooses to share something with me. I will tell him, I understand how you must feel, and maybe I've had this incident in my life that is similar to what you're going through, or not just about this, but about anything. Okay. And I can understand where you're coming from. I totally get that, or whatever. But as far as him, his take on the whole thing is, what I told him is, how do you know that this incident even has anything to do with you? I asked him specifically, I said, how well did you know her? I said, can you tell me beyond a shadow of a doubt that she wasn't involved with somebody else? That she didn't owe somebody money? And he said, well, nobody can say beyond a shadow. He goes, nobody knows 100%. He goes, and essentially what he was telling me was, no, I didn't know her well enough to say.
When he was talking about that, surprise, that
Mhm.
whatever, did he ever say that he doubted that it was his, or that he was going to make sure? I mean, you're 45 years old. You have, like you said, you got some
You've been
knowledge of
careful
his
your whole
finances.
life.
You've been careful your whole life. Are you know what I mean? I would be like, well, wait a minute. Time out before I, resign myself to something like that.
Honestly,
Can I talk about that or no?
that is one of the things that was swimming around in the back of my head. Was like, well,
He's not naive, is he? Would you say he's naive at all, or not about anything?
no,
Okay.
I would not say that
Okay,
he's
I just
naive,
okay.
I would say that he's overly cautious in a lot of situations, to the point where sometimes I want to put my hands around his throat and just be like, will you lighten up? Will you loosen up? It's not that. I mean, even especially in business, he questions everything. He was getting ready to go out of town, and I needed him to sign a power of attorney in case we had this real estate closing scheduled before he got back. So I called the attorney and I said, put together a POA real quick. I said, I'll have him sign it and I'll get it back over to you. That way, if we can get the closing done, okay? He looked over that power of attorney. He looked at every I. He looked at every T, and he's like, I don't like the way this is written. He's like, I don't think I should sign it. And he pointed out a couple of ambiguities in the legal jargon that totally had gone over my head. And I looked at it and I was like, God, you're right. He's very cautious.
Besides his football background, his athletic stuff, what's his background? I mean, do you know what his degree is? Do you know what his kind of?
Education. He was an education major out of Ohio State. Okay, he's a children's book author.
So he's not. I mean, so when you talk about investments and you talk about real estate and things, he's more of a guy that's kind of involved in it, not because he's some tycoon or has inside knowledge about things. He's just kind of like, he knows someone, he meets people, he gets involved in things because he's like any other investor.
This is going to be our first development project. This is our first crack at it. So he's never done anything like this before. As far as the whole paternity issue, it was kind of swimming around in the back of my mind, especially after, like I said, the way that I interpreted what he had said to me. I thought it was someone that And like I said, that he had had some brief fling with somewhere that, like I said, the way he phrased it made me think that it was like she had already had the kid and came back and just be like, oh look, this is yours, give me money. So that was going around in the back of my head. I was like, oh, I hope he's gonna ask me.
A professional woman, you're taking care of them.
Right?
Maybe that's all you want from him anyway.
Oh,
I mean, that's what I'm saying. Do you see Sean as, well, this is the limit of our relationship and that's all it's going to be, and that's fine because I have my kids that I'm most involved with and having to take care of.
Yeah, they're my
and that's
priority.
right.
Over, you know, here's the thing. Obviously, I was married once before. It was a very long time ago. Okay, I couldn't even tell you where my ex lives. I know it's not in the state of Illinois. Okay, goodbye, good riddance.
Really? Okay.
I don't want to get married
No
again.
contact with his children?
Nope, not for at least 10 years. Not in about 10 years.
Is he a bum or something? Or he just doesn't care?
I couldn't even begin to judge.
Right.
Okay,
I'm just curious.
couldn't even begin to judge. I like my independence. I don't want to be married again. Okay.
That's perfectly, and that makes a lot of sense. You know, that's why I asked that question, just to kind of have
As
an
far
idea.
as placing limitations on the relationship, like, will you ask me, is this all you want from him? Like, I don't put limitations on it like that. It'll become whatever it becomes.
And
you
you're
know?
still, you know, like you don't turn, like you're still open, you know, to whatever it would become, or you could just as easily meet someone tomorrow, someone else, become involved and say goodbye
Well,
to Sean.
that's-
Yeah, he seems
Quiet.
quiet and
Yeah,
reserved,
quiet.
but yet polite.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So
He's not like an arrogant person. You wouldn't say, right?
no, he's not arrogant at all.
Some athletes or some celebrities, people with celebrity status can be.
That was one of the
Okay.
things. That was one of the things that struck me about him when I first met him, because you know there were obviously other athletes milling around,
Sure.
and he did strike me. That is one of the things that struck me. But I was like, he's not stuck up.
Right.
Humility or a level of
Yeah, he's not
He's
stuck up.
humble.
So
Do you know offhand, do you know if he has guns or has he ever said he owns guns?
he never mentioned it to me. He never mentioned it to me. Afterwards, he mentioned. He said, you know, he goes, I never mentioned it before. He goes, I had guns in this house. He goes, and they came and they took them.
Okay. But he's never, I mean, in your time knowing him, he's not one that goes to the range once a week.
No, I never even knew until he mentioned it to me, and I want to say maybe it was about I never knew he had any in the house.
Do he tell you, obviously, yes, we have the guns,
Mhm.
but do you know offhand what kind of guns he's got? I'm kind of curious if there's more guns out there that we don't know about.
No, like I said, the only thing that he said was that he bought them when he was living in Highland Park, and that when he moved to Chicago, that he had them. That was before they passed that law about not having any handguns.
Yeah.
You know, that he just had them since he.
Just the criminals.
Yeah.
Only the criminals can have
Yeah,
them.
only criminals can have them, and they usually have better guns than the police do.
Right.
Mhm.
So, you know, no, I never even knew he had any in the house until he mentioned it to me like probably 2 weeks ago. So, well, he doesn't have any more.
We're just temporarily holding on to them.
Temporary meaning forever.
Got it.
So,
So you text him, email him,
mhm.
and business and personal stuff.
Business and personal stuff, yeah.
Now you said just really brief about he's good with your kids. I mean, he's got a relationship with your kids.
Yeah, he's got a decent relationship with Mike. It's not an extensive relationship, you know.
Mhm.
He's the kind of person that likes kids in limited quantities.
Dosages.
Yeah, limited dose. Kid.
Well, you don't have your own.
So
That's
yeah,
you
he
know.
likes kids in limited dosages.
You ever ask him about? I mean, just talking about things. You ever ask him about how come you never married, or how come you never had kids? I mean, we all try it once or twice, right?
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
he basically said that his outlook on that is that marriage is something that should be saved for later in life.
Oh, late.
Yeah, exactly, or 45 too.
Yeah.
Marriage is something that should be saved for later in life. I guess like kind of after everybody's done with their maturing, and that the partner that you choose should be someone that you have things in common with.
Right.
You know.
But don't you hate seeing a 55-year-old guy with a 1-year-old? You know, you're like, it's kind of a.
You know what?
I mean, I know.
God bless you.
Right, I know.
Okay.
I mean, I know when you're young and a parent, and it's like you make those things.
I'm
and
glad
then when you're
I
older,
did it when I was
right.
young. I think I
Right.
have the energy.
I know, but still, you see a lot more older people having younger children. Children.
Yes, but I also
And
think
older
that it's
age,
different
that
for.
age.
I also think that it's different for men.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's different for guys. I do. I think that.
We don't accept it until they actually come into the world.
Well, not just that, but once they do, it's. I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm a single parent and I've always raised my kids by myself. That. I see the mother as being more interactive with the kids than the father. So, basing that, going on that idea, like the dad doesn't have as active of a role as the mother does. He doesn't need to be as young.
Right.
Yeah.
Because it's a stereotypical, the wife should be staying home raising,
No.
I'm just saying, well, obviously that's not the case today. I'm just saying, though, that's still the attitude of, I don't have as much responsibility as the woman because that's her, that's her place,
He did both have a role, but so as far as Sean's concerned, though, you just think that he just figured that he wasn't rushing. That's the way it is.
Yeah.
You ever talk about his childhood or growing up or his family at all?
Yeah, I mean, his dad was in the
Anything odd
military.
yeah.
No, nothing really struck me as odd. He didn't go into a lot of elaborate detail about it. For me, I feel that based on the person that I know he is, I think there must have been something back there that he's not sharing.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't know what it is. I don't know if, like I said, to me, I figure, well, his father was military. Maybe his dad was just really strict or something. And I even asked him about that. I was like, so, was your dad really strict? And he was like, no, not particularly. So he never really shared a lot about his childhood, but I watched how careful and meticulous of a person that he is. And people don't get that way without reason.
Well, they could be growing up with a military father, too.
That's true.
Just kind of routine. Anything quirky about him, or?
Everything is quirky.
Everything is quirky.
Where would you like me to start? Let me get my list out.
Oh, you have a list.
Okay.
Well, anything.
That stands out.
Yeah.
Like
Strange.
OCD behavior.
Or like red flags or anything. I mean, hey, we meet people. Women and men meet people, and during a relationship, early on, that's a red flag.
No,
anything.
other than the annoying fact that he is intentionally vague about things. And like, for example, he'll say something, but he won't mention names or places. Other than that, and
It's hard to tell stories about being with someone when it's a woman when you're with a woman.
Right.
Sometimes.
Well, obviously.
Yeah.
But I like I said, other than the fact that, and that's, to me, that was just like a nagging little annoyance.
When you heard about this and you heard that it was a woman that he was involved with, that she had a kid or she was pregnant, did you go, oh shit, or anything? Did you think?
I put two and two together. I put two and two together, and I was like, oh, well, apparently whoever this woman was, she didn't have the kid yet.
But did you think, like, what if it's Sean? Or
I never thought for a moment. Okay. That was, I started getting phone calls from friends and stuff later in the evening. And, of course, the reason that they were calling is because they wanted to know if I was okay.
Right.
Mhm.
That's all they heard.
I heard a lot of that.
Yeah,
Over
that's
the
all they
last
heard
several
was
years.
dead girlfriend of Sean's. And they were like, are you okay? Yeah, I'm still breathing. I'm okay. I'm here. Wasn't me. Okay. Obviously, you're talking to me now.
Well, Marnie, just kind of to follow up on that, I guess at any point you tell me, I don't know, did at any point in the 6 years that you've known each other and you obviously have had this intimate relationship, however long, did you guys ever consider yourself boyfriend, girlfriend at one point? Did he ever address you as a girlfriend? In that
he
title?
never addressed me. With that, a lot of it has to do with the company that you're with and who you're addressing.
Right.
Okay? And with him, he was always very paranoid. he was overly paranoid about you know, who knows that I know you, and who knows that you know, we see each other, and who knows, and what do they know. And you know, whenever I would mention to him, oh, you know, I'm gonna talk to Sasha, there were a couple times where he came by to see my kids' football games, and the first question out of his mouth is, you know, who are these people and what do they know about us? You know, it's
Kind of
like,
like off the side.
dude, relax, okay?
But do you think some of that had to do with the whole Monica letters, though? I mean,
No, this was even before that.
oh,
This
okay.
was long before that. He's always been that way. Honestly, it depends on the audience, and it depends on who I'm with. Whether
Right.
I refer to him as a boyfriend, or whether I refer to him as a friend, or whether I refer to him as a business associate.
Mhm.
It depends on who I'm with.
Do you have a problem with that? I mean, if you were referring things outside
No,
of,
I never really asked him.
oh, I didn't know if you ever.
Well,
you ever
like
addressed anything.
girlfriends, I mean, girls or women
Mhm.
and men too. We all have a circle or a small circle.
Sure.
It could be 1, 2, 3 people.
Right.
You know, like if something happened to you and we wanted to know, you know, who are you involved with?
Right.
You know, who would we ask? I mean, like in other words, which few people maybe did you share that? Like you said, you had people calling you saying, "Hey, are you okay?" I mean, was that a lot of people or a few
No,
people?
just some closest friends. You know, the other thing too is a lot of it is dependent on what's not said.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily, whenever we would go someplace, I would not necessarily introduce him as
Sure,
something. Hi, this is Sean.
sure. It's kind of
You
yeah.
can make your own conclusions
Right.
as to what you. Not only that, but quite frankly, half the time, I don't know, what label do you stick on it? You
Yeah,
know,
no,
it's like,
right.
why do you need to?
Exactly,
Yeah.
especially at this age. What about his friends? Did you ever meet any of his football friends or
I never
ex-bear others? Or
I never met a single one of his friends. None of them.
family?
None. He never as far as I know,
Did you think that was odd, or you just
Well,
think it was the way he was? Just
I
next
just
door?
figured it was the way he was. I just honestly figured it was the way he was. Honestly, I have always been under the impression that none of his friends even know I exist. And yeah, that bothered me a little bit. I'm like, okay, you know, we've been together 6 years and I don't even know any of your friends. They don't even know I exist. You know, what's up with that? Yeah, those questions were in the back of my head,
Mhm.
but, you know, once again, it's one of those things where I just shrug my shoulders and go, that's the way he is. What am I going to do?
He's interesting.
Eccentric. Okay.
Interesting. Well, interesting's okay. It's a good word. You know, we all live our lives differently, and you know,
I,
nothing wrong with that.
I just have one point of clarification before we wrap this up here. The Monica letters, you obviously got the first batch and the second batch,
Right.
correct? Do you remember, and I wish I would have brought the letters, do you remember, were there names on both, were there names of his alleged girlfriends on both packets?
I don't remember. I know there were on the first.
Okay,
I don't remember if there were on the second. Like I said, the second set of letters, kind of like I half read them. I was like, because it struck me as like, oh, this again.
well, wasn't your name on that list though, the first list?
Yeah,
Okay.
my name
That's
was
what-
on the first.
That's what I thought. Now, you know, you did say that you reviewed that list and you didn't know anybody on that list.
Not a single person.
Did you speak with Sean about the names on the list? Did you guys go over and say, who's this person, who's this person?
I did not, because he was very much on the defensive about it. It was one of those things where
And I know
I was
there's-
going to get my head bitten off if I
Okay.
asked. And
He was
you know,
trying to damage control and
Yeah,
keep it
I-
to a
I-
minimum.
Well, no, I understand that, you know, plus you obviously don't want to know if these are other girlfriends. You don't want to know that certain
I know, but I
aspect of
don't
it.
want to know.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
I just,
Once you go there, it's kind of like hard to go back.
Do you really want to open up that can of worms? Like,
I know.
if it ain't broke, don't fix it, okay? And the other thing too is, how do I know he's going to tell me the truth anyway?
but you didn't call any of those girlfriends, because there were phone numbers on there. You didn't call any of those girls to say, hey, what's the deal? You know, did you get these letters too?
No, because, you know,
They didn't
again,
call you, did they call you at all or
I have
anything?
no idea. Like
Okay.
I said, I got hang-up
Hang up calls, okay. That's all I have.
Really appreciate you coming down.
That's no problem.
I
That
hope
was
you don't
my
run into
responsibility.
traffic. I know. I hope you don't run into too much traffic.
We're cops, we're never on anything.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give you my business card.
Okay.
If you think of anything or anything comes up,
Well, do you have any questions for us,
Yeah.
since we've been talking?
Yeah, I want to know how many of those women he's still talking to. I want to know how many he's involved with.
Well,
He certainly isn't going to tell me.
the problem is that he is an attorney, so,
So I have to call his attorney and ask her.
well,
Well, you know what, just like,
I'm saying as far as the list of people that are on there,
Mhm.
it's probably pretty accurate.
As police continue their investigation, they find evidence that Marnie Yang had bought books and supplies to help her make a disposable silencer. A friend agrees to wear a wire and meet up with Yang, getting her to talk about Roni's murder.
Hello. So of course I'm going to finally ask the question I told you I never ever wanted to know. When you hid the gun, did you hide it real well?
It's gone. It's under tons and tons and tons of Chicago trash.
I really did not believe you would do it.
I didn't believe I would either.
Did you see?
It was so dark I wasn't even positive that I was making straight shots. And she started screaming. I took the first shot. And then when she went down, she took her foot. She took one good kick at me, got me in the shin. That was it. I took one last shot. And finished her off.
Gentlemen, I sure as hell hope you hurt.
In 2011, Marnie Yang was convicted of murdering Roni Reuter and her unborn child, and was sentenced to 2 life sentences. Since then, Yang has sworn that she made a false confession and is innocent. She is back in court, arguing that she has fresh evidence that requires a new trial.